I never imagined a simple family game night could unravel everything I'd built over a decade of marriage. We lived in a cozy suburb of Seattle, Washington, in a craftsman-style house with a wraparound porch where the kids loved to play tag on rainy afternoons. My name's Emily Thompson, and that Friday evening, I was buzzing with excitement. I'd picked up fresh popcorn from the local market and arranged it on our oak coffee table alongside root beer floats for Mia and Ethan, my 8-year-old twins. They were already on the living room rug, giggling as they sorted Monopoly pieces. Ethan always claimed the little race car, while Mia hoarded the hotels like a tiny tycoon. Derek, my husband of 12 years, shuffled out from our bedroom looking sharper than usual. No faded Seahawks sweatpants tonight. He had on a crisp blue button-down, his cologne hitting me like a wave of pine and citrus. "Hey, Em, I invited someone from work over," he said casually, checking his Apple Watch. "From that team-building thing last week. It'll be fun." Before I could protest, game night was our sacred family ritual, the doorbell rang. In walked Riley, all confidence and sharp edges, with a nose piercing glinting under our pendant lights and a smirk that screamed entitlement. She was from his office in downtown Seattle, apparently a marketing whiz. Without so much as a hello to me, she plopped onto our sectional couch, grabbed the Monopoly instructions from my hands, and scoffed. "This setup is so basic. Who even plays board games anymore? Derek, you weren't kidding about needing some real excitement." Derek laughed, his eyes lighting up in a way that twisted my gut. "See, Em? If you put in a little more effort, I wouldn't have to look elsewhere." The words landed like a slap, and the room went dead quiet. Mia's lower lip trembled. Ethan froze mid-stack of play money. I tried to keep it civil. "Riley, maybe tone it down? This is family time." But she shot up, her face flushing, and before I could blink, her fist slammed into my shoulder. Pain exploded through me, sharp and hot. Mia let out a yelp, knocking over the board in her scramble to hide behind me. Ethan burst into tears. And Derek? He just stood there, then hooked his arm around Riley's waist and muttered, "Let's get out of here." They strolled out like nothing happened, leaving me stunned on the floor with my kids clinging to me. That night, I paced the hallway, my arm throbbing under an ice pack, listening to Ethan's muffled sniffles from his room. Derek didn't come home. By morning, my phone was blowing up with his voicemails, angry at first, accusing me of overreacting, then pleading for forgiveness. I ignored them all. Instead, I dug out that old laptop he'd hidden in the garage, the one he said was broken. It booted right up, no password. There it was. Flight bookings to Vegas, Uber receipts from late nights, photos of him and Riley grinning in some swanky bar, and worst of all, a video clip where he whispered into her ear, "Emily doesn't suspect a thing. We're good." My heart shattered, but anger fueled me. When Derek finally showed up that afternoon, reeking of regret and cheap excuses, the kids wouldn't even look at him. I laid it all out on the kitchen table, the screenshots, the evidence. He smirked, calling it cute detective work. That's when I said it. "We're done, Derek. Divorce's papers are coming, kid handovers at the community center lobby, neutral ground." He threatened a custody battle, but I held firm, my voice steady for the first time in months. The weeks that followed were a blur of paperwork and pain, but I was determined to protect Mia and Ethan. The community center in Redmond, with its glass doors and bustling foyer, became our handover spot. That first exchange was a nightmare. Derek was late, and Riley hovered outside like a vulture, her sneer visible through the window. She mimed a shove, mocking the night that broke us, her laughter cutting through the glass. My hands shook, but I pulled out my phone and recorded it discreetly, capturing her taunt for my lawyer, Jordan. Jordan was a godsend, a sharp Seattle attorney with a knack for cutting through nonsense. I'd met her through a friend at the kids' school, and she was all business, no pity. I started documenting everything. At the next handover, Derek staged a scene at the Bellevue Square Mall, screaming lies about me neglecting the kids, while passers-by stared. My hidden audio recorder caught every venomous word. Later that week, our home security cam picked up Riley skulking by our mailbox after midnight, whispering threats about watching us. I sent every clip to Jordan, building an airtight case. The courtroom in King County was cold, sterile, but it felt like a battlefield. Derek's lawyer painted me as a paranoid housewife, obsessed with spying on my poor, misunderstood husband. Jordan didn't flinch. She laid out the facts. A mother assaulted in her own home, abandoned by her husband, harassed by his mistress. We played the videos. Riley's jeers, Derek's tantrums, the mailbox incident. The judge, a stern woman with tired eyes, didn't hesitate. She granted me interim full custody, with Derek limited to supervised visits at a family services center. Riley was banned from any contact with Mia or Ethan. Walking out of that courthouse, Ethan's small hand in mine and Mia clutching my jacket, I felt the ground solidify beneath us for the first time in months. At home, the kids started to heal. Ethan stopped hovering by the front door, waiting for a dad who might not show. Mia's laughter returned, bubbling up during our pancake breakfasts. But Derek wasn't done. One rainy evening, he showed up at our porch, soaked and teary, claiming Riley was gone and he'd changed. He begged for a second chance, saying the kids deserved a whole family. I stood in the doorway, rain pattering on the awning, and saw him for what he was, a man who'd burned every bridge. "No, Derek," I said. "You don't get to waltz back in. You see the kids on schedule. That's it." He didn't argue. For once, he just left. As the weeks turned into months, the storm clouds lifted from our little home. Derek's visits became sporadic, often canceled with flimsy excuses about work deadlines at his tech firm. The kids adjusted, filling the gaps with school projects and soccer practices at the local park. I threw myself into my graphic design freelance work, turning our spare room into a sunlit studio overlooking the Puget Sound. The structure of custody forms and scheduled calls brought a strange peace. No more walking on eggshells. One crisp Saturday morning, I decided to reclaim what was ours. I set up the living room just like that fateful night. Monopoly board on the coffee table, snacks piled high, soft jazz playing from the Bluetooth speaker. But this time, no shadows loomed. Mia and Ethan dove in with glee, their cheers echoing off the walls as Ethan bankrupted us both with his hotel empire. We laughed until our sides hurt, the candlelight flickering on their joyful faces. It was ours again. Pure, untainted family time. Amid this healing, life surprised me with a gentle spark. It happened at Elliott Bay Book Company, our favorite indie bookstore in downtown Seattle. I was reaching for a copy of The Night Circus when my hand brushed against another S. "Sorry," I murmured, looking up into warm hazel eyes framed by tousled brown hair. His name was Alex Rivera, a high school English teacher from Bellevue, with a smile that crinkled the corners of his eyes. We chatted about books over the next aisle, discovering a shared love for magical realism. "You have to read Marquez," he said, his voice soft and enthusiastic. Before I knew it, we were at the cafe next door, sipping lattes and trading stories. He talked about his students' passion for poetry. I shared snippets of my designs. There was no rush, no pressure, just easy conversation that made my heart flutter in a way I'd forgotten. Our coffee dates turned into walks along Alki Beach, watching the ferries glide across the water as the sun dipped low. Alex was kind, patient, listening intently when I opened up about the divorce, the betrayal. "You're stronger than you know," he whispered one evening, his hand enveloping mine. That first kiss under the twilight sky was tentative, then deepening with a passion that reignited something deep within me. His lips were soft, tasting of sea salt and promise, pulling me into an embrace that felt like coming home. Alex slipped into our lives like a missing puzzle piece, his presence warm and unassuming. He started joining us for dinners, whipping up his famous spaghetti carbonara in our kitchen while Mia perched on a stool asking a million questions about his teaching days. Ethan warmed up slower, but Alex's endless patience, helping with math homework or tossing a football in the backyard, won him over. "Mom, Alex is cool," Ethan confided one night, his eyes bright. Our romance blossomed quietly at first, stolen moments amid the chaos of single parenting. Weekend hikes in the Cascades, where we'd hold hands on mossy trails, sharing dreams under evergreen canopies. One evening, after the kids were asleep, we sat on the porch swing, stars twinkling over the sound. "Emily, you've rebuilt something beautiful here," he said, his thumb tracing circles on my palm. I leaned in, our lips meeting in a kiss that deepened, his arms pulling me close. Passion ignited, his touch gentle yet fervent, exploring with a reverence that made me feel cherished. He met the kids' needs without overstepping, always deferring to me. Our first family outing was to Pike Place Market, watching the fishmongers toss salmon while Alex bought flowers for Mia and a comic for Ethan. Laughter filled the air, and I caught myself thinking, this is what family feels like, whole, without the cracks. Game nights evolved too. Alex joined us one Saturday, claiming the thimble piece with a grin. "Prepare to lose, Thompsons," he teased, but he let the kids win, his mock defeat sending them into hysterics. His laughter harmonized with ours, turning our trio into a quartet bound by joy, not obligation. That shove from Riley, the one that cracked my world open, forced me to see the fractures Derek had ignored. It hurt like hell, but it propelled me towards strength I didn't know I had. Derek faded into sporadic visits, his influence waning as our new life flourished. With Alex, love wasn't a battlefield. It was a sanctuary of trust, tender moments, and promises kept. Now, as I watch Mia and Ethan thrive, their smiles unshadowed, and feel Alex's arm around me, I know we've forged something radiant. Serenity in our home, security in our bonds, a haven that embraces us all. Heartfelt, romantic, and utterly ours. Thanks for watching.